A lot happened in a very short space of time, but I think that the key things that I have taken away looking back on it all is, firstly, we had this enormous participation in the democratic process, which I think is a great thing. We had turnout in a referendum which was record highs, and I know from doing my job, people everywhere were really engaged in the question of our future relationship with Europe, and then they came out and they drove to express an opinion. So I think that's a real positive that we had that process. And the second thing is that we've had some time that's passed since then now, and yes, there was a lot of change and a lot of things happened, but here we are, a couple of months later, everything's fine. I would say, the sky hasn't fallen in. The economic news is pretty good. We have a new prime minister. We have stable government, and life is continuing as normal. So I think a lot of the kind of scare stories we heard in the days after the referendum, I think hopefully have been put to bed a little bit, which is good.
And what impact do you think the referendum has had on British politics?
It was a very important event. I mean, a lot of people in Parliament campaigned on the other side of the eventual kind of winning outcome. So I think, for a lot of those people, there's kind of a realization that they were potentially out of touch with a lot of what their own constituents were thinking and what people across the country were thinking. And now it's good that we're having a conversation about, what should be an appropriate immigration policy for Britain, what should be the right farming policy for Britain. Those are conversations that we, as a country, we didn't really have previously, or were not able to have, because we weren't in control of those policy areas. So in that sense, it's been really good. Look, I think when you had record numbers of people turning out to vote in a referendum of such significance, it can't but be a positive thing, and all the conversations that MPs have had with their constituents over the past few months would have helped them to do their jobs.
And going into this new parliamentary session, what are your hopes for that, with all these, these burning issues that are still there?
The good news is we'll start to tackle some of these, right? And time will be a healer for those. In not just Europe, we've got important questions like airport expansion in the south, which is part of our national infrastructure. That's a decision that we need to take, as well as all the conversations around making a success of Brexit and what exactly that's going to look like.